Rochester, New York, October 2019. With the Irondequoit Mall being renovated and giving new life, Marketplace Mall now stands as the city's weakest link. 90s pastel lines the halls of this mall, as well as the people. But will those people remain? Let's see the mall's offerings and make the conclusion from there. Marketplace Mall was, and still is, a Wilmorite property, having been opened in October 1982. Its original anchors consisted of Sibley's, McCurdy's, B. Foreman Co., and Sears. At the time, the mall was regarded as the largest regional shopping mall between New York City and Cleveland, Ohio. Meanwhile, it was the fourth shopping center established in Rochester, coming after Midtown Plaza, Grease Ridge, and Eastview. And while I refer to the greater region as Rochester, the Marketplace Mall is actually based out of Henrietta. This mall was no stranger to the sensation of musical chairs, and would see a fair amount of change-ups. JCPenney would sign on as a fifth anchor in 1983, while Sibley's would turn over to Kaufman's later on. McCurdy's would turn over to Bon-Ton as well. As the mall grew in popularity, expansions would go up around the mall to make way for outparcels, and a Galleon's store would sign on to join the mall. In 2004, Galleon's would turn over to Dick's Sporting Goods, and from here on, the mall's history would be relatively quiet. Of course, the 2010s would host significant turbulence for the mall's stability. "2014 was a rather big year. While Field & Stream came to the mall, Bon-Ton would be on its way out. In 2015, it was announced that Dave & Buster's would come into the space left behind by Bon-Ton and would open officially in 2016. The space would also be shared with an indoor go-kart track, which is currently known today as RPM Raceway. Wilmorite also announced plans to convert the mall into an outlet concept in 2016. But as the reopening date for 2018 came and went, it was clear that these plans were scrapped or put on the back burner indefinitely. The next few years were not kind to the mall, as Macy's announced they would be closing up in 2017. Sears, surprise surprise, would announce in 2018 that they would be closing, following through with a liquidation sale in 2019. But, as some good news, a company called UR Medicine would take over the old Sears space, beginning a transition to mixed use for the Marketplace Mall, as it began to boast a modest mix of entertainment, shopping, dining, and office space. Hold on just a moment. Those are payphones down there. Let's go see if any of them work. Okay, that was a little disappointing. Enter 2021, and as of the making of this video, the mall continues to lose tenants one by one, but it retains Dick's Sporting Goods, Dave & Buster's, RPM Raceway, and JCPenney as anchors. Having managed to get out of 2020 alive, this mall is at a turning point, and is left to Wilmorite to decide its fate. I can only wish them the best as we go forward. Okay, I'm gonna come clean with you guys. My trip to Rochester, New York was a bit of a disaster. I originally intended to get Eastview and Grease Ridge when I passed through in October 2019, but guess what day I arrived in for Rochester? You want to take a guess? Halloween Saturday. Eastview had more kids than adults and staff combined, and I had to scrap that video. Grease Ridge was shaping up to become a Butts video, so I had to scrap that too. Marketplace Mall was the only one I could salvage, and even this visit was a bit compromised. I couldn't go near the Macy's corridor because there was a voting session being held that day with a crowded line all the way into the corridor. The food court was also shoulder to shoulder crowded, so I couldn't get anything there either. I know at some point I am going to have to go back to Rochester and do it right. Ah well, as long as there's a wood-slatted JCPenney, things will be okay. In fact, I was glad to at least get Marketplace Mall on the docket. The pastel overload of this mall is just too much to ignore. I wish that fountain at the intersection for the food court and Macy's was still running, but ah well. Can't have it all. Maybe next time, right? All in all, I enjoyed this mall, despite the disaster that the Rochester trip turned out to be. What I don't understand is that part of the corridor between the fountain and the children's play area is so bland looking. What's up with that? I mean, at least the rest of the mall still has all the cool stuff, but that renovated portion just looks out of place. Am I the only one that thinks that? I do believe this mall is on track to become a mixed-use center, no longer the traditional mall it once was. Maybe it'll de-emphasize retail and become more an entertainment venue. Maybe it'll turn over to office space. Maybe it'll get demalled altogether into something else. The only way to know for sure is to wait and see. But what do you think? Is there any future for this mall? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Speaking of commenting, we are just about done with this mall. I apologize for the compromised trip to Rochester, but I did make up with broad coverage in Buffalo later that weekend, which is already on the channel. Have a look. Subscribe if you want to see me come back to Rochester and clean things up. And do like this video. Comments and likes do help drive traffic to this video, hence the shameless begging. Also, if you feel inclined, you can donate a few bucks to Ko-fi, linked in the description. Only do it if you want to spare the cash, though. I know times are tough. Hope to see you again, Rochester. And until next time, this is Doomie Grunt, wishing you and the Marketplace Mall in New York farewell, and good luck in this crazy world. You want me to do what? Like a cupcake?